Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining the Celebration of Consciousness. I am your host, Lorelei Drock. Today we have the collection of the mystical more. We'll start this space with an opening blessing. So I welcome you all here. Today's theme is friendship, and I am so thankful for all of your friendship and for you being here and holding this space with me today. And I ask that our guides, our angels, and all our benevolent beings come here and bless this space for all of us to feel the love of Source and the energies flowing through this space in love and friendship today. First off, that we have today is Greg Cassini. Greg is going to open our celebration of joy with music. Greg is a life coach musician. After 2 books and 43 years as a psychotherapist, Greg now blends that experience with his music as a life coach musician. Themes of Greg's songs, most of which are over 40 years old, parallel ideals of full living. Greg had an NDE at birth and feels the echoes of that mostly through his music. 3 of Greg's albums have gotten airplay, and the songs came as comfort to him, and he hopes that by listening, you'll find comfort in them too. Welcome, Greg. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Lorelei. Ready?
We're ready.
Okay. So this first song, I live in the Midwest, but I was in California training, and I witnessed something on the beach, and that's where the song came from. The sun was strong and steady, the shore received the wave, and strong where wave meets shoreline stood a piper with one leg. His friend chased down the bubbles and danced from wave to wave and fed on small sea pieces, balanced piper on one leg. And I stand still, and still I fly. It seems the more I do, the less I try. And I stand still, and still I fly. All that I need comes to me by and by. The piper held his posture, the other chased and made quick hops and darts and circles, both birds of equal weight. And sure and clear in focus, the piper of the one leg, with simple, clean reactions, took food brought on the waves. And I stand still, and still I fly. It seems the more I do, the less I try. And I stand still, and still I fly. All that I need comes to me by and by. The sky had changed its color, the sea, the waves repeat. Both birds, they seem contented, enough they'd had to eat. One piper ran a little, one piper turned his head, then filled with air the pipers flew. One-legged piper led, and I stand still, and still I fly. It seems the more try, and I stand still, and still I fly. All that I need comes to me by and by, by and by. By and by, by and by, by and by, by and by.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Greg. I didn't know if you had a
Thank
second
you.
song prepared, but I did leave space for that if there was another you felt called to play.
I know Ishtar's gonna do a meditation, right?
Yes, later.
It's part of. So this song is kind of meditative. If you like, I can share it.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Greg.
This was actually not a song. It's probably the first thing I ever wrote down, and I just felt like put this on paper, and I didn't put a date on it, so I'm not sure. It's probably 45 years old, maybe the first thing I wrote, and then a couple years later I put it to music, and it eventually became the title track to my One Soul CD. Feel welcome to close your eyes if you want. I kind of go someplace, especially when I play this song, so you're welcome to go with me if you like. Look beyond the noise above to some place still within. Allow the gentle stirring to well, to lift, suspend. Ooh. Down deep and so total, as if separation no longer exists, as if to mingle with the life all contained. Self simply contains a fraction of the magnanimous experience. Ooh. Ooh. Allow the heart to live its part. It's there we go. Beyond, allow the heart live its part. It's there we go. Beyond, allow the heart to live its part. It's there we go. Beyond, allow the living spark. It's there we go beyond. Whoa, whoa, yeah, yeah. Whoa, whoa, yeah, 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 yeah. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Guy. Kind of took you away. That was so beautiful.
My
Thank you
pleasure.
so
Thank you.
much. Thank you. Now we're moving on to our spiritual share today, which I'd like to welcome Ishtar Howell. Welcome, Ishtar. Okay.
Thank
Ishtar
you.
is, you're welcome. Ishtar is a meditation teacher, monk, gardener, intuitive, and writer. His childhood was filled with weird and mystical experiences. Then at age 13, he experienced an NDE, which shortly propelled him on a spiritual path. And from there, I'm going to let Ish tell you the rest of his story.
Whoa. Well,
Hold
thanks,
on.
Lorelai.
You're welcome.
My mind is totally blank. What do you think I should talk about?
Well, you've had quite a
No, no.
path. So for today, feel what you are called into what you're
Yeah.
called to share. So
Thank
we're
you.
happy to hear any part of your story.
Thank you for that latitude. I appreciate that very much. Uh, okay. Well, actually, today, um, I think I want to share some stories, a couple stories. How much do I have? 10, 15, 20?
25
What's my...
minutes.
Oh,
So,
wow. That's a lot. Okay. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay. I think I want to share a little bit about some of the teachers and guides who've sort of visited this lifetime, just a few little snippets. And I think I want to start. Let me turn something off on this end of my computer, which is making noise. There we go. I think I should start when I'm 15. Yeah, that's where I'll start. So, as you mentioned, I had a near-death experience, like I think a lot of people in this group have. Good Lord, it's a den of that sort of thing. And that was I suppose relatively young in life. Although at 13, I felt like I was kind of getting on in years, as a 13-year-old sort of does. They feel they're ready to go. And there were some beautiful there was a beautiful spiritual deepening after the NDE or during it, which lasted for a few months, but then it faded away. And in that spiritual deepening, there was a total sense of oneness with life. There was no fear. There was a strange sense of being held by love all the time. Unfortunately, that didn't hang around for good. It only hung around for about 2, 3, probably 3 solid months. And after that, it was not a very pleasant experience of life, because then after that, it's back to school, and except without a mother, which is what happened in my near-death experience. I lost my mother. So then life was a little bit difficult and sticky for a while. And so I remember about 2.5 years after that, I had this tendency of walking at around midnight to 2 a.m. Around my town, going to this beautiful lake that I live next to, a place in Wisconsin called Lake Geneva. And it has not that much light pollution. So there was big, beautiful stars up ahead that would often even reflect off the surface of the lake. And then one night it just kind of came out of my heart. I let the words come out of my heart, which were, I would really like to have a mother again. To whoever's listening, whatever divine power might exist, as you can tell, I'm not doing so well down here. You know, I put on a good face. I put out a lot of effort, but yeah, and if you can arrange something that works really well, I'd be all for it. And it really did feel like a ball of light was flowing out of my heart when I was saying those words. And to my slight surprise, I actually felt a response, and the response was the sense of somebody at first standing right next to me all of a sudden, and at the same time a voice coming right into my ear and also coming down from the very beautiful black night sky. I'll be your mother. And I was like, yeah, okay. You know, not I didn't want to get entangled with, like some strange dodgy entity or anything like that. It's like, okay, well, well, who are you? And then the new visitor said, I'm the dark goddess of destruction. And instead of putting me into any kind of fear, I was like, hey, that actually sounds about right for who my mother would be. I felt completely comfortable with this energy, and I felt the most beautiful arms, a palpable feeling, the most beautiful arms wrapping my torso, and saying, following, I'll be your mother, I'm the dark goddess of destruction, was, I'll be looking out for you, and I'll be with you for the rest of your life, because I've always been your mother. And I was even your birth mother. I just was asleep as your birth mother. I hadn't woken up to who I really was, but that was me too. And so I thought, oh, this is great. I've got a mother now. Then, it's crickets from then on for a few years. I'm going like, hey, I even go out to the same street corner at the same time, and I'd be like, all right, we're gonna have, some kind of communication or something like that. And it never did come until must have been 3 years after that. 2 or 3 years after that, I found myself at age 18 in a newly arrived into an ashram in a forest on the Oregon coast. And I wasn't particularly familiar with Sanskrit or Sanskrit names at that time. And everybody I was meeting there had a Sanskrit name, and I couldn't remember jack shit. I would just try to get a letter and a syllable in at the start, and give people nicknames. And so I very clearly remember turning a corner and running into what turned out to be one of the main teachers who were there. And this sort of lady, which looked a little bit like the Mona Lisa, but with a bit more of an aquiline nose and sort of very dark, piercing eyes, dressed in all black. I turn the corner. Our gazes meet. I feel like I'm being X-rayed down to my bone marrow. I can feel, oh my God, this woman is actually inside my body. She's looking from the inside. And it was rather unsettling, because I could feel her rummaging. It felt like she was rummaging around my unconscious. I'm saying, like, don't open that drawer, right? Oh, she opened that drawer. Oh shit, she knows. And just a complete feeling of being exposed. And then it turned out her name was Kalima, and I had no idea what that meant at the time. But then, I think I put two and two together, a few months later, once I figured out what everybody's name actually meant. And I felt very well taken care of, because it's like, well, I didn't hear back from dark sky goddess mother, except the one time, but I guess she wanted to give me another form. So that's the first story. I don't know what point it has, except that we all have a mother, we all have a cosmic father, we're all being looked after in ways that we don't always, we can't always know. And this woman was just a wonderful teacher for me, for the time that it made sense for me to be in that monastic situation. Perfect. Sometimes I remember walking home one time. This is a strange thing with this lady. Now we're just going extemporaneously. I walked in from a day of work, and I had been having like I'm a weird type, so I always have this tick where I look at a space and I start rearranging it and imagining, what it ought to look like. And I was doing that with our house. I kept seeing these sort of a deep burgundy red curtains that were sort of rather heavy, and that would make sense in like a Tudor or a Renaissance French mansion. And that was just what I would see. I came home and those curtains were there on the wall, and then kind of coming out of nowhere from my periphery, as she often did. uh, and almost to startle me a little bit, she said, "Do you like the curtains, Ishtar? I got them for you." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, thank you, Kalima, thank you for doing the thing where you sort of read my mind and just make shit happen." So that was a fun thing. Another thing was kind of weird. They came home because I didn't get invited on the big shopping trips to Portland. I don't know why. I just wasn't in that clique. I was in the gardening clique, and I think I was too dirty to be taken into polite society spaces. They wouldn't say you should change your pants if you want to come out to this restaurant. I'd be like, okay. Uh, so then they come home from their fancy excursion, and she says, "Thank you for getting the office furniture for us." And it's like, what did I do? And then she said, "Yeah, when we went to pay for the furniture at Staples, the clerk said it's already been paid for by some guy named Thomas Howell," which is my English name. And they're like, "Do you know this Thomas Howell?" And they, "Yes, we do." I say, "Well, I guess he's paid for the stuff." And okay. So apparently I had paid for $640 of office furniture from my account without knowing that I had. And my card was always in my pocket. It's not like anybody knew my number. And then Kalima came up to me and said, like, "Now, Ishtar, this has happened to me a lot. Now the trick is you can't think about it, and then it won't come out of your account." Of course, when she said that, I'm start thinking about it. I'm not going to blame myself, but it took 4 days for it to come out of my account. And she said, "Now if it does come out, we'll pay for it, but this is your task here to see if you can successful do this." And yeah, I was unsuccessful. So that's all right. So I'll move on from Kaliman, and I think I want to talk about um, another beautiful friend of mine who showed up post NDE. It was the first person that I remember who used the term walk-in. This was back in 1998 in a small town in Wisconsin. So these things, it's not like New York City, or California. These ideas take a little bit longer to percolate there. And after he told me he was a walk-in and what that meant, I was walking around town thinking that my little town was very like spiritually in tune, because I kept walking, especially hairdressers, because they always said walk-ins welcome. And I was like, oh my God, they knew, all these hairdressers, they knew about this. I thought these were kind of shallow institutions. I actually did think that. I mean, I was apparently a smart person, but I do have blonde hair, so I do adhere to that onerous stereotype from time to time. Anyhow, this fellow is interesting. He was one of these beings that I would go over to his house, and within 100 feet of hitting it, my body would be shooting 2 octaves up. I would feel so much bliss running up my spine that I would actually need to go take a nap on his couch. And so it became my couch for my 20-minute naps. And I would actually, this was happening without him being around. Something was triggered. So I would actually beeline it to his house. And even if he was underneath his truck working on it, I would just say like, "Hey, Austin, I got to use the couch. Okay, I'll," and she's like, "Yeah, don't worry." This was a pattern. Anyway, his story was fascinating because this was something I could verify. It's a small town. Everybody knows everybody else and everybody's business, especially back then. Before his death experience, he was known as one of the most notorious town assholes. He was such a bad character that he was trying to secure a dubious bank loan at my father's bank, and the other loan officer wouldn't give it to him. So old Austin, pre-death, was actually trying to strangle the other loan officer, and they had to throw him out onto the ground. So when I told my father who I was hanging out with, he said, "You're hanging out with whom?" Anyhow, so his transformation came when they thought he was having heart problems, so they decided he should go to the hospital and get on the treadmill and do one of those stress tests. And I've learned that if you want to die of a heart attack, you should go do a stress test, because that's exactly what happened. As he was running on the thing, he had a massive heart attack and died, and they put him on a kind of a gurney to the side, and then he freaked some people out by bolting upright minutes later. His story was that the old guy, as he called him, the old guy left and I tagged in, because we had a preordained deal, however the framing, I'm open to it. But immediately upon coming back into his body, he had a completely different personality than the old town asshole, which apparently came with a fairly in-depth knowledge of Native American rituals of the Southwest. And so he lost all of his friends because they were all also assholes. And unfortunately had to get a divorce because his wife was rather mean too. And he got to keep one deep bosom buddy who was like only a marginal asshole. So one of the friends got to remain. And then he starts hanging out with weird 15-year-olds like me, years later. So this was an interesting man. He passed away some years ago, in a VA hospital. But this was another teacher that was sent. There were a string of them that were sent in the teen years to kind of, I realized later, just shepherd and take care. Shepherd and take care. I hope everybody's enjoying this kind of campfire story thing. I didn't really want to talk much about myself because I'm so bored of that. I hate doing that. I'm like, now I can't do it. This is kind of about myself, but anyways. So one day I came over and we used to sit at his kitchen table, and he had a weird fashion sense, a non-fashion sense. He wore cut-off jean shorts that were almost Duke of Hazzard short. If he wasn't such like an innocent angel, I'd be like, man, maybe he should get longer shorts or something. Even I would be. Anyhow, and a flannel. And he chain smoked. Of course, he only chain smoked American Spirit. But just a funny guy. He would sit. His phone was one of those old dial-up ones that, made a very percussive ringing sound, and it would sit between us around the kitchen table. Anyways, the man had a wonderful knack of telling me in 37 seconds, so-and-so is going to call. I haven't heard from them in 3 years. Something like that. And to the person, it would turn out to be the case. Any day. One day we were just sort of chewing the fat, and we were talking about J.J. Hurtak's Keys of Enoch, that wonderful old book from the 70s with the sort of psychedelic 70s illustrations and impenetrable text, at least for a 15-year-old's brain at the time. And suddenly I had this sense I had to go out into his backyard, which is a beautiful wooded sylvan area that butted up against an old, what was once a railroad track and had been decommissioned and turned into one of these little lovely raised walking paths that are shaded. So I just had this sudden urge, I have to go there now. So I went out, got out of the house, walked up into the trail. As soon as I got up into the trail, within 3 steps, I found my body unable to move, and I almost pooped my pants. And when I say I almost pooped my pants, I'm not exaggerating. I mean, I don't want to go too scatological here with the internet conversation, but I had to sphincter to stop an evacuation. And my thought was like, what the fuck is going on here? Geez, because I'm not feeling afraid. And then there was a delay. Then the emotional fear came up in my body, and I was like, okay, what's going on here? And I look ahead of me, and about 50 feet ahead, there's this a very large, what looks like a very large animal with 4 legs and black. And my brain was trying to process what the hell this thing is. Around this animal, one thing that was peculiar is it had the heat lines that you get all kind of around it. I was like, oh, that's peculiar. It's got heat lines around it too. And it's like a predator dog. If I'm referencing that film Predator, where they have the thing. And anyhow, you all might be too highbrow for films such as that. But anyhow, I'm seeing this thing. I'm saying, well, that's a little bit. It's moving with its shoulders like this. That's not very dog-like. It looks like a cat, but it's rather too large for a house cat. The thing looks like a panther. Thing looks like a black jaguar or whatever. And then my mind was like, well, they don't have those in Wisconsin, at least not these days. And I was like, well, it looks real enough to me, and I almost pooped my pants. So perhaps I should either get ready to fight or flight. And before I finished the thought, I found myself running. And then I had the despairing thought of this episode of the Discovery Channel in which they told me you should never run from big cats. It stimulates their instinct to chase. And I was like, oh fuck, I'm gonna get killed on a path at 15 by some weird ass etheric jaguar. What a way for me to go. That makes a lot of sense. And so I kept running, and thankfully I had practiced. I'd like people do, I'd done drills of my hand movements, how to run towards a door, and in the most efficient time span, open the door, send your body in, and close behind you. I drilled these things many times, among other similar drills, and a perfect execution. I think a 10 out of 10. And I was landed on his kitchen floor panting. And he was already on his floor, almost with his legs up on the table, laughing uncontrollably. And I said, hey, what are you laughing at? Hey, I got to tell you what's going on here. And he said, like, that you didn't have to run away from it. And I said, like, what ran away from what? What are you referring? He said, the jaguar. It's like, what? How do you know jaguar? And he proceeds to tell me that oh, I forgot the name of the thing, but he said, well, that jaguar has been assigned to me and the property as sort of the caretaking spirit. And for the jaguar to call you out there and to show itself to you was actually a sign of I suppose in etheric jaguar society, deep respect. And I said, well, is it pissed off that I ran away? So no, it's cool. That's like, okay, great. And these are the sort of things that would happen. I had this terrible plastic retainer that I had to wear as a teenager. And I was kind of expensive, and I didn't want to piss my dad off, but I kept losing it. And it was clear. So it was very light, very easy thing to misplace. So my hotline was Austin as well. I would call him and say, like, hey, can't find the retainer. And does your counsel or your guides or whatever, your guidance, as he called it, can they help me out here? He said, hey, sure. He said, like, well, and he'd never been in my house, and I'd never described my house ever to him. And he said, like, in your TV room, there's the blue couch on the left side of the TV. You have to look under the right front leg, and it's in the newspapers and magazines that you've sloppily put under there. And then I went and I couldn't find it. And I said, hey, you got to tell your guidance they're slipping, like a teenager would say. And he said, no, you're sloppy again. It's in the Newsweek. As then I checked, sure, it was in the Newsweek. This happened repeatedly. So beautiful friend to have. My dear old friend Austin. I share those two because I've been feeling them especially in my heart lately. Mother Kali and brother Austin. And when their job was done, it was done. He moved out just as I decided to start up a 6-hour a day meditation regimen. And when I told him that, he said, like, you're good now. And I was like, all right. And then he moved to Cottonwood, Arizona, because he said Sedona's become too Hollywood. And that was back in 2000. So if it was too Hollywood in 2000, I don't know. What do you think of it now? Yeah. So what else? I lost track of my time. I think I'm fairly close to where I was wanting to go. But Jai Man, Jai brother Austin. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ish, for sharing your friends and your guides with us. That's beautiful. And of all things, the theme of friendship. So that was perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's interesting. I just have to point out, Ish and I both grew up in the same area that he was describing, and it I never knew that about the Black Panther because it showed up for me once,
What?
more in a vision, not in real time. But and I didn't know what it meant. I was seeing through its consciousness, but it was larger than a panther would be. It was huge.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it was just kind of interesting. So maybe it's from that area.
Oh my
Kind of interesting.
God, that's cool. That's
Yeah,
that's
I
so
just thought that
cool.
was a weird synchronicity because nobody's ever told me they've seen it, but you. So I just thought that was interesting.
Oh, I've got a whole pack of strange eccentrics to introduce you to then, who are all independently seeing these Black Panthers in their shamanic initiation practices, and yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Okay. Well,
yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah.
That's right when my shaman aspect came in. So that's interesting you say that too. See the beautiful
Hmm.
synchronicities. And that's what I was going to open the floor up to. So that's a great segue. At this time, I invite the collective to share any beautiful synchronicities or random acts of kindness that you experienced in your spiritual path. Just a minute or two. If anybody has anything that is going on with them that they feel is in the flow of this nature, if you'd like to share, just raise your hand or give me a wave if there's something you would like to share. Okay. I don't know if anybody is. Oh, Keisha?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Ishtar for his sharing. And actually, it's really interesting that you shared the information about the credit card and stuff, because like I've had instances where if I don't think about a charge, like I have it set up where I get notifications, and if I don't pay attention to it, it doesn't come through. But the second I'm like, wait, that didn't, then all these charges will be like stacked up on my card, and so it's the first time I've ever heard anything else similar to that. So yeah, and I love that campfire storytelling. I really appreciated it. So thank you for being here today and for
Hmm.
sharing that with us.
Hmm.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else before we move on?
I just offer something weird. I to the bulk of what I listen of watching and listening to you, Ishtar. I I I'm watching and listening to you, looking and sounding the way I do in my body language and the way I talk most of the time. And I'm like, damn, this is freaky. Like I'm literally watching you do it, and I'm thinking, I don't sound so bad. I don't look so bad in the way that I do here. Because I tend to be a little overcritical in anything I say and do that go on camera, and I'm like, damn, that ain't so bad. So I'm watching you, and I'm literally feeling validated by you, just because almost everything, the work, the things that you're talking about are not the same as I would talk about, but practically every facial movement you make, and your tone and everything in your body language reminds me of what I do on camera. So wow.
That's really cool. Yeah, because I can kind of see it because I'm watching you both, so that's wild. And I think Rev had his hand, he waved, and then we'll go to Sherry. So Rev, if you want to share.
Isn't it amazing that Jeff and Ishtar is connected in incredible ways? Ishtar, that was amazing. What you just shared for the last 20, 25 minutes was amazing. And the energies coming off of you were amazing. And Rev just wanted to say thank you very much. And it was appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Rev. And Sherry?
Yes, I just wanted to tell you, Jeff, that it was one of the things that I was very drawn to was the way in which you were appreciating Ish. There was such a lovely, it's such a beauty to it. And so now I'm really glad you shared because now I understand that it was very multi-level for you. There was a kind of a self-appreciation as well. It was just really sweet to see that interaction.
Thank you.
Thank you all for this space.
Yeah.
And I love the sense of community and just being that relaxed. So it's really set the tone. So I'm so thankful for that. Eric, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I wanted to tell you about a spiritual synchronicity that happened this spring. So yeah, I was just doing energy healing course and walking in the woods while doing that or before doing that, and we had it in a wonderful tent, and yeah, I did a nature walk before that. And while I was doing that, I saw something from the edge of my vision at the tree, and I looked there and there was nothing there. Then I looked away, then there was something again there. And for me, that's a sign, oh, that's some kind of spirit. And so I walked there to the tree and asked the spirit, what do you want, and stuff like that. And I got the message, it wants to come with me and see what we're doing there at our energy healing course. And what then happened is kind of a series of synchronicities, everything around trees. Yeah, seeing some videos and talks about people who work with the spirits of trees. And then there was a course that's about working with spirits of trees. And yeah, that all came together. And basically what I'm doing now is my own energy healing method, which includes the tree spirits. So that was beautiful development.
That's
Welcome
amazing.
back, old druid.
Right? That's so amazing. Thank you, Eric. The only time I hugged a tree, this giant dragon eye opened up at me, and here it was. And later I found it in my Lemurian channeled oracle deck, and so there was this whole thing that played out for me, and in my 2019 experience with trees. And I just wanted to mention that because I feel they're so sentient. In a matter of friendship, I feel like they're always guiding me because they're like some of the oldest, most sentient beings on the planet to me, and so that's just amazing. So I just wanted to say that thing, synchronicity of things, because that's just so amazing. Wow. And
The Rig Veda, in fact, treats trees as the human form in the plant kingdom, as they're our analog, and so they would be our easiest means of access.
wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
in my experience, they had me call them the Sentinels. I don't know why. So I call them the Sentinels. That's really, oh wow.
And Lorelai, can I jump in?
Oh, go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, so speaking because of the discussion about friendship today, science has shown us that trees are actually communal. That there are trees that, if, like in Africa, if an animal is eating the leaves, it sends a chemical reaction to the trees around it that produce a chemical in themselves that are repellent to the animal. So they support each other in amazing ways that we're just now being able to study, that they are a community and they are friends with each other, which they give each other microbes and stuff to help them keep healthy in their roots. And it's just kind of mind-blowing.
Wow.
Stevie Wonder's old album, The Secret Life of Plants, he was onto something.
He had the sight.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Thank you, Greg. Oh, Rev, you had something you wanted to.
Yes, the tree people. I mean, it's so many of our ceremonies and all these different sacred places around here. Besides what Greg just shared, they're antennas. They're connected to the earth. They reach for the sky rivers, to the sky people, and they've constantly communicate, even when I'm sitting on the back deck of Oneness. But in ceremony, they've done amazing things and opened their hearts, have done things for us. And they're huge communicators to us if we listen. If we listen. And I've been humbled, and they've taught me a lot about friendship, the trees, the tree people. We had just lost one in a major storm, and our favorite pine tree here. And the wife actually saw it get blown from its roots and laid down. And little by little, we removed the branches, and we did sacred fire with it to honor it. And because of the sap, the ashes stayed hot for 3 to 4 days. The ashes, because of the sap, but the prayer energy that went out as it was burning was just like powerful. And I prayed for a lot of people here, just with the feathers and waving that energy. But they're amazing beings on their own, and I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you, Rev. And thank you. I remember as you were experiencing that. Thank you. Patty, you have your hand up?
I just wanted to say, I don't know how comprehensive this is going to be, but a lot of the meditations I've had have a lot to do with trees. And even my ex-husband said that I was like a tree person or something like that because how slow I moved. But that's kind of irrelevant to everything. But I mean, I think in one vision, I had a vision of the tree of life. And it like was kind of an explanation to me about how the tree of life kind of works through us. And when I got up close to that tree, it had the roots that just went infinitely up into the sky and then infinitely down to the ground. And when I got up close to it, I realized it was like made up of DNA. And it just thought in my head is like, oh, is that us? Is that just like a representation of who we are? It's like the tree of life. So I just had to add that. I don't know. It's just some of the stuff that's been coming to me lately. Broken thoughts, broken visions and stuff like that. So Lorelai's kind of helping me iron that stuff out. So thank you, dear. All right.
You're so welcome, and thank you for that share.
Mhm.
Is there anyone else before we move forward?
Well, for a brief thought, Lorelai, just
Mhm.
regarding the tree conversation. I
Mhm.
don't know if you folks are aware of this. I suspect in this group probably are, that you know that everybody and everything has an aura. Now, when I'm walking in, I'm looking at a tree. The trees are one of the most consistent auras I've ever seen. And pretty much any tree I walk by, they're always peaceful. They're always loving. They just always have that kind of a feel in their aura, just always. I don't. There are some trees that like are on the way out and the aura is diminished, but mostly if a tree is still thriving and strong, it's got a wonderful aura to it. So I don't know if that's something that other folks have taken in or not, but that's just something I've been aware of.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. And Linnea, you had your hand up, hon. I saw you.
Hi, I
Hi.
just want to say hello. Sorry I walked in late. You have been talking about friendship, is that correct?
Yes, that's the theme today. Yeah.
Yeah, I find that friendship is really one of those things that we struggle with because I think so many of us lack what is the definition of friendship? What's the true definition of friendship? And I've been hearing, I sometimes feel like, I think Lori, you said sometimes you felt like I'm new to this plane. But I'm very shocked sometimes when I hear people talk about friendship and they talk about things like transactional friendships and acquaintances and friends. But in the Lakota perspective, friendship, when you say cola, you don't just say that to anybody. That has a weight of responsibility with it. I'm something I'm really struggling with recently. So don't say you're a friend to someone unless you're willing to walk those moccasins with them, walk in their moccasins with them. And so friendship is one of those things I think that we really need to define what that means with the people that we're entering relationships with. What does that mean? I heard somebody recently, I heard her talking about other people and she said, well, that I can see that this friendship is coming to its logical end or its conclusion. And I don't know how everybody else feels about that, but friendship to me is one of those things that you would be there for them. You might not see them for even 5 or 10 years. So there's no time element attached to it. But when push came to shove, you'd put your life on the line with them. You'd be there for them. And I think it's really important to interpret what those things are when you start a relationship with somebody, even a friendship, because your definition of what a friendship is compared to my definition of a friendship could set us up for a lot of problems, and a lot of heartache, you know. So I liked how they talked about the trees. The trees are very steady friends because I think they work in a whole different type of time frame. And they've been here, they've seen it all. So the little ego battles and trips that we get into with the people around us, they go, oh, well, this will pass. Give it 100 years. Next cycle, something like that. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you for that beautiful share and being open with that, Linnea. And, you know, and in that awareness, because you're right. My definition of friendship is unconditional love. I accept them wherever they're at for as long as they want me in their space. And not everybody is that way. So it is good, you know, because otherwise that the whole thing I speak about expectations, you know, what do you expect from this friendship? And you know, people have very different expectations. Thank you for sharing that and just bringing that awareness. Thank you. Thank you. Keisha.
Yeah, I just had something come to me that I'd like to share. Jumping back to the trees, I've had it come to me about to be, if you want to be like anything, be like a tree, because a tree just is standing there in its power, and everything it needs comes to it, and it doesn't have to search for it, seek it, doesn't have to, you know, it attracts it, everything it needs comes to it. And so just you know, be fully in power, be like a tree, and just be, and all you need will come to you. So thank you.
It was absolutely beautiful. Thank you. Wow. Okay. Wow. No, just be. That's what Spirit says over and over. Doug, did you have something you want to share?
Yeah,
Okay.
there was something that's kind of unusual. It has nothing to do with the tree spirits or anything, but I don't know. I got this object. I don't know if anybody can kind of figure out what that is. It kind of looks like a ring holder, maybe a chain, put your chains in and stuff. And this was in my closet. I never seen the thing before in my life. I got an important paper from the VA, and in my closet, I keep a fire safe in there and put all my important papers in there so they don't burn up. And here I turn towards my fire safe, and this thing is sitting on top of it. And I asked my wife, and he says, "Is this yours? You know, where did this come from?" She says, "No, she thought it was mine, you know." And if I had this thing in one of my boxes that I moved downstairs, and I decided, oh, you know, I'll bring that up and display it somewhere, I'd set it on my china cabinet in the dining room, you know, one of the little shelves in there, if there's any space there. I wouldn't put it on my fire safe in a closet where, you know, I wouldn't have found it unless the next time I went to my safe, you know. And so I don't know if somebody's given me an A port or what, but it's kind of funny that there's price tags on the bottom of it. One says $1, another says $2. It must have been marked down or something. But and it's not perfect. The handle broken off on the one side, but somebody visited me apparently, but I've never seen this thing before in my life, you know. So I just keep it here, so well, like today, so I can remember to bring it up and see if anybody had any thoughts on it.
That is just an amazing experience. And, you know, the things that come and go in our reality. I mostly have things disappear and then reappear, but they're
Yeah,
mine. So to have something that isn't yours is really wild.
yeah,
Awesome.
strange.
Yes, very much so. Nadine, you had your hand up, and then Greg.
Good morning or good afternoon to everyone. So with speaking of friendships and of course with trees, I really resonate. Sorry about the voice here. I've been yelling at the TV. um, I really resonate a lot with the trees, and I grew up in Washington State in the Pacific Northwest. My father came from North Dakota, and he actually would carve out of Montana cottonwood bark. They were at least 150-year-old dead trees, and he would carve the gnome castles. And I thought I showed them to you before, Lorelei, in our group one time, but I have a lot of them around my home, including the eagle. So when everyone is bringing up different things about the spirit animal or about the trees and about what resonates in the friendships, for me, it's the eagle and the wood and the trees and the gnomes, because I always see Rev's camera with the gnomes. It's all of that, and for me, that's where the love and the friendship is for me. And anytime that I'm around the woods, and I have trees all on the side of my house, and everybody knows the story about the roots and the plumbing. So I've left the trees up on the side of my house only for the shelter and the space and the love and the energy. And I feel as though the trees are actually coming more towards my house, especially with the branches, because now the branches are touching my house. And I feel them at night, especially when I'm sleeping. So I did want to briefly say I had a vision last night. I was at my old job at Walmart. I know it's really crazy because I was there till 2018, but I'm walking around and there's a pumpkin on the ground in the middle of the floor, and I'm like, that's a safety hazard, and it's kind of nasty looking, like rotted, but when you peeled it back, there was a little animal inside of it. And I don't know if it was like a groundhog or like a little miniature sloth or what it was, but it was a small little animal, and it peeked its head up and it looked at me and it smiled. And I said, wait a minute. I said, there's like the pumpkin is there for a reason. And somebody says, that's my friend. My friend is inside the pumpkin. And the little animal came up out of the pumpkin and crawled out of the pumpkin and was walking back, and we walked it outside. So I don't know if that resonates with anyone, but that was just like so different and so unique. And then I wake up to friendship with everyone. And who just commented, hold on a minute. Someone just, Kathy, my mother is in Quail Run. I went to Peninsula High School, and I was there from 81 to 93. So with that, I know that will resonate with you since you're in Gig Harbor, and that's actually where I was, in Gig Harbor. So same place.
Thank you for your share, Nadine.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Then we have Greg, and then Rev, and then we need to move on to the. So, Greg, did you ask?
So, Nadine, with your permission, it stirred up the Gestalt therapist in me. Can I respond to that? So, the Gestalt notion is that everything in the dream is representative of some part of ourselves. And so I'm just going to throw this out. Is that cool with you? Okay. So often the parts of us that we think are unsafe and rotten, if we can give them loving attention, there's new life in there, something that wants to be in relationship with us. And we often reject the parts of us that we don't feel comfortable with, or we think are bad or shadowy or rotten. But in those places, if we can attend to them, there's something waiting for us to connect us and be a friend to us. And then my reaction to Doug's bowl just symbolically, in terms of the discussion today around symbolism, you said it looks like it might be a ring holder. Well, rings are often symbols of commitment and connectedness. And so maybe there's some part of you that's attracted that, or that there's an invitation to look at your commitments or your connections, or to expand your friendships. Just a thought. And then lastly, I have another performance an hour from here that I have to get ready for. And Scoot, thank you all for your presence to me and to one another. It's a lovely discussion. And Ishtar, thank you for just who you are. Be well, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Greg.
And thank you, Greg, for being here
Thank
and
you.
providing that beautiful music and joy for all. Thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Thank you so much. Rep?
One of the things I was going to share, what Greg shared about the ring. In ancient times, the ring was, it was like the prodigal son. If people know that story, who was gone and blew everything, and he came back, and the father gave him the ring to signify you're connected. Talking to Doug now, to the family, to creation, to the cosmos, to all of who you are. And the other thing I was going to share, being around creation and the ceremonies, and I used to do a lot of Lakota ceremonies, is gifts would come and gifts would go. Kind of what Lorelei said, and how you receive that, Doug. But in some way, I know you know the energy of that, being around that bowl, that ring bear, whatever it may be. But to give offerings, to give thanks in your own way. There's a different earth ways that we do that, leaving offerings, but in your own way, to give thanks for the energy, whoever put it there, and more information, vibrations, and energies may come through to you to make these connections a little more clear for you. But I think that's really, really amazing. And thank you for sharing that, the other Doug.
The other Doug. Thank you, Rep. And welcome. Yeah, somebody just joined us. And then we're going to be moving on to the healing meditation that our dear Ish, when he's ready, is going to guide us through. So if everybody wants to kind of get settled in their environment, that wants to join in on the meditation, whatever that means to you, if you just want to relax, close your eyes, whatever, we'll let Ish take over from here.
Yeah, and please remind me what's my time for this one.
Meditation is
Yeah.
15 to 20, so you can.
Whoa! Oh my goodness. Okay.
Well, you can take less if you want.
Nice.
I'm just saying, you
No,
have
that's
the time.
okay. It's luxurious. I can't talk that slow though. But anyways, I'm not going to be doing that much talking here, and we're only going to guide at the beginning. And before we get into this, when I run my own classes, this is usually the point where I ask if anybody needs to relieve their bladders, because I want everybody to be comfortable. So if anybody if just one has to use the bathroom, please do so. All camels, huh? That's impressive. Oh, Eric, we found one. We found two. Good. Yeah. Oh, no, he went to the bathroom really quick. That was like.
No, I'm kidding.
Okay. Pretty much all the meditations that I teach, actually all of them, and that I practice are effortless. So being physically comfortable is important. And this is sort of it was a turnaround for me, because when I started out as a teenager, I was basically an ascetic, and enjoyed ascetical practices, and well, as much as you can use the word enjoy there, but yeah, spent a lot of time getting my Anglo-Celtic knees and hips to conform to full lotus posture, and then I find my eventual spiritual path there, saying like, hey buddy, you could do this meditation laying down. And I'm like, okay, all right. Well, that good on me for putting in all that work for 2 years. But fun things in life. We'll wait for Keshia. Oh, Jeff's still here. I wanted to mention to Jeff, if he's happens to be around, when I saw his name, when I saw your name, Jeff, written down on the program, I was like, I'm gonna know that fellow, this Jeff Kelson. So this is not be retroactively pumping something up to fit the circumstances. This is genuinely the case where I saw your name. I was like, yeah, that guy, that name, that's something that's a familiar.
Have we
Yeah.
met before?
In like a metaphysical sense? No, not in no, I don't think so. I really
No,
don't think so.
you felt familiar too when you came in, but I don't think we ever met.
No, I where do you live? What part of the country?
New York City.
I've only been there once, and that was 2005, and it was very quick, and I didn't meet anybody. I mean, I met a few people, but no, you know what I mean.
I always say those are those quantum meetings. I meet a lot of people in the quantum, and I meet them years later.
Yeah.
So,
All
okay,
right.
I think we're all set. Liz just joined us, and Liz, we're just going to step into a meditation. So if
Yeah.
you just want to get comfortable, and I'm back to you.
Hey, all right. Yeah, that's my invitation here. There's no prerequisites to being good at the meditation we're going to do here. There's not going to be any need to concentrate or to have great powers of concentration. You know, even if you die during the meditation, you can still continue. I'm pretty sure I've taught discarnate entities meditation, so don't even worry if you die. You're good. So you don't even need a pulse. That's what I'm saying. The requisites are so low. And my invitation here is, if there was any requisite, is give yourself the invitation to be like Winnie the Pooh. Give yourself the invitation to be innocent in that way. To give yourself the invitation to disabuse to the best of your ability. And if you can't, doesn't matter. Just the invitation matters. Have the intent of letting go of what you think a good meditation session or a bad meditation session looks like, or what deep or shallow looks like, because where we're going, the compass doesn't always work well in terms of depth versus shallow. Okay, so we're going to be doing a very, very, very old practice, which I'm sure a certain percentage of folks in this digital room may have encountered before. So to get ready, get yourself as comfortable as possible. And when I say comfortable, I mean like unashamedly, shamelessly comfortable. We'll say it like that. Not like when you have a friend who's not very good at baking and they bring a muffin over and you have to say like, oh, that tastes really great, but it tastes like really middling at best. No, we're not doing that. No, so comfortable. If your back aches, get comfortable, relax. No need to have knees or back or any part of the body be uncomfortable. You do not have to have your spine 90 degrees with the earth for Kundalini to move. Kundalini is a far craftier being than all that. So we're going to be doing the old Soham technique. I think some people are very familiar with this, and there's a lot of this technique can be done in a lot of different ways. There's a lot of different derivations of it. We're going to do it in a very, very simple and effortless way. What the Soham technique is, it's mantra, is a very simple mantra meditation, 2-part mantra consisting of So and Hum. This one we're going to be doing very gently with the breath. So with your eyes closed, first let yourself breathe naturally. Doesn't have to be rhythmic. Just let the body breathe as it likes to. And now let yourself watch any of the thoughts that might be moving through the mind. Let yourself experience the sensations in the body. the emotional content, which may or may not be there. And then on the in-breath, let yourself very gently think so. You don't have to think it the whole time you're breathing in. Just can be very simple, even very briefly, if that's how it works out. And then on your next out breath, your next exhale, think the second part of the mantra, hum. You might notice that these two mantras naturally almost sound like what an inhale and what an exhale sound like. So again, when you think so, you are breathing in. When you think hum, you're breathing out. And now the trick here, that which makes this an effortless practice, is that you don't have to concentrate. You don't have to keep other thoughts out. You can even be having a million other thoughts rising up, and that's just okay. And so when you notice, and only when you notice, that you're off in some other zip code of thought, thinking some completely different thought, all you have to do is very gently come back to either so on the in-breath or hum on the out-breath. And we're going to do this for a couple minutes, and then I'm going to add one more wrinkle to this practice. So on the in-breath, hum on the out-breath. You can think them gently and nonchalantly as you would think any other nonsense thought. You can feel happy, you can feel sad, you can feel angry, and it doesn't matter at all. So, now the final wrinkle, and we want to do this very easily. Again, there'll be no concentration in this. When you're inhaling and thinking so, you also want to let your attention move from the base of your spine, from your tailbone, up the back to the top of the head. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to visualize it. You don't have to be at all precise. Just having the intent, the loose intent of letting the attention go from the bottom to the top in whatever way it does. And then when you think hum, in the same manner, you want to let the attention move from the top of the head, down the front of the body, to the base of the spine. It can happen in a split second. Again, it doesn't matter. Just the loose intent, as if I were to say, think of the ceiling above you without looking at it. The attention can just go anywhere. Just that easy. So again, when we inhale, it's so, and up the back. When we exhale, it's hum and down the front. We'll practice like this for the next several minutes. Now, in the last couple minutes of our meditation session, I want to leave you with an invitation just to sort of put in your back pocket, put it in the back of your mind as you slowly come out of meditation. And that invitation is more of a perception. And that is that every thought that you experience, every feeling, every physical sensation that moves through your body, no matter what the thought, feeling, or sensation, no matter if it's your least favorite thought, no matter if it's the machinations of what you consider to be the machinations of your ego, all of those things and everything else is simply nature naturing. All of those things is life with a capital L living itself. All of it. Every place where you resist life, even the resistance is God godding. It's all life living. There's no difference. Just put that in the back of your mind as an invitation to have that germinate, flower into deep, direct experience. God is breathing through your lungs. So, and slowly open the eyes and come out. Lovely. Hopefully that wasn't excruciating torture for anybody.
Yeah. Waiting for everybody to filter back in.
Yeah, you don't want to get the bends. It's good to come out real ginger-like, you know?
Yes. Mm. Everybody settle into that energy. How are we all doing? You okay?
Yeah, well, we've just joined the Kriya Yoga folks and many yogis going back many thousands of years, joining in the stream of that technique. And there are more iterations and permutations of it, of course, but that's the basic. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Ish. Thank you for guiding us through all of that. I hope you all had a beautiful journey.
One thing that might be worth mentioning, Ishtar, when we before you guys started on that, you had said to me, Jeff Kelson, you seem familiar, and I now and my guys provided me with why you saw me that way. It's something I usually block from saying. That's why I wasn't saying at the time. We didn't meet here or on this planet. You know that, right?
Oh, that's great. Good.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Excellent.
It was an entirely different time, entirely different place.
Ah, yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Jeff, lately you've been meeting all sorts of your kin.
Yeah, this is actually the first time this way.
That's so beautiful. Thank you so much. At this time, we usually open up the floor once again for anyone who has any prayers, healing requests, or intentions they would like to set for the collective to send energy to. you don't, that is fine, or you can do it silently. But I just open the floor for anyone that has any sort of, like I said, prayer, healing intention, or an intention for the collective. Betty?
Yeah, I wanted to say, while I was doing it, I had it was an interesting sense, like, because I guess my intention was on healing, because that's been my biggest intention lately. But it's almost like I could see the nerves, like, because I had like a spot out my back, and as he was asking me to breathe in, I could feel like where it was, the breath, the energy was stopping and doing its work, and then going up further, and the more energy was doing a little bit more as it reached each chakra. It literally had to stay in certain spots in certain areas, and it's like it's almost like see the nerves just kind of pulsating in the back of my mind, you know. And then of course I have my higher power always been tattooed on my right hand, only tattoo I've ever gotten. That started tingling, and I had this like urge to put it on my head, and I got this like almost this magnetic, like just put it right there, just go ahead, put it there. And I felt like just this almost magnetic connecting to that the spot right here and this spot. And I don't know that nothing else came through, but it was just like I did feel like right after I just moved slightly, and I could feel that pinch in my back just go the way it needed to go. So thank you for that. That helped a lot. So thank you. That nerve's been bothering me a lot. So I'll let the next person go ahead.
Thank you for sharing that, Betty, and for your intentions.
Mm-hmm.
Nadine, you have your hand up as well?
Yes, thank you so much for that. For being here on this earth, I've just been, so strongly grounded to where I meet other individuals, and gas relieves my body in different forms, whether it's from the front or whether it's from the back. And of course, I prefer the front versus the back. But breathing in and out as I did, I felt it go up my spine, and then I burped, and then I felt it go back down. And as my sister says, she never farts, but for some reason, something just came right out, and I kept doing that, and it kept going back. And I know it's whatever, but I felt that. And then I saw a white book, and all the pages open, and all the pages were just fanned out. Like it was just letters, or the Akashic records. Like, as Lorelai and I've been working on getting everything like more at one level, but the book opened, and then all the pages were all lined up, and then I saw the trees. So that was beautiful for me. The gas part, okay, yeah, that's fine. I mean, I eat a lot of Mexican. Oh, that's okay. So, but that still went up through my spine, and it came right back down, and it was just really beautiful. So I thank you so much, and blessings to everyone, and laughter for everyone to help fill your hearts.
Thank you so much, Nadine, and for being so open. Thank you. That's beautiful. Keisha, you had your hand up?
Yeah, so I came to the time when we were finishing the meditation, and it was 12:37. 37 has been coming to me a lot lately, for new beginnings. And setting an intention, it's come to me, like stick to one color, and your color is gray. And I've heard before that source is gray. And so the intention going forward is to really detach, just bear witness and experience. So to experience the full experience that, is possible for this true reality. So thank you.
Thank you for your intention, Keisha. Thank you. Linnea?
So I hope there's not much feedback. I took the mic off, the headset, so if it's reverbs or anything, just let me know.
You're good.
I've had a couple things on my heart. I think one of them I shared in the messages, and it all goes back to relationships. So it's very funny because on Sunday, I tend to lose track of time. Sunday is the day that I give to myself normally. And I try to untie myself from times and constraints that have borders around them. But I felt really pulled, like it's been happening lately. Like I was standing in the restaurant the other day, I was getting ready to order and something just said, you need to leave. And I ended up I was drawn to this woman's house and she was just getting ready to leave, to move. And I was just meant to be there, and that's kind of how I felt like coming into today. I was something pulled me into my business emails, which I don't go to on Sunday. And there was the link for this, and it reminded me, oh yeah, I need to be here. But friendship has really been on my mind lately, because friendship is one of those bumpy roads that all of us traverse, and they can be very difficult. And especially when you're working in a facilitator role, where you have to keep a certain social distance. But yeah, people are bearing their hearts and you're bearing your hearts, and you're going, how do I traverse this? How do I traverse this? And okay, how do I traverse this and become and care enough for myself and to have the friends and the social connections that I need, but also to distance myself, because I have to remember that when people are coming in, especially in a facilitation mode, it's normally because there's some stuff they're working through. And so you don't want to create a trauma bond with them. You don't want to create all those things that are going on too. And that's a difficult one, especially for facilitators. So I don't know if you guys talked about this earlier in the talk about friendship. So I kind of feel like I need some prayers, personal prayers around this, because it's really breaking my heart.
Sending you so much love, Linnea. I know what a huge, huge heart in that sense that you have, and holding that space for so many people. She does a lot of women's work. I know that can be very hard. I'm sending you so much love, and we will send it as a group in just a moment. Oh, you're fine. This is that space we hold. I love you so much.
But and it's hard too, because because you're dealing with a lot of trauma, they want to sometimes come in and tear apart what you're doing it. And that becomes very difficult, because when you see them vulnerable, there's sometimes a kickback. And so I've been really struggling with that a lot. So on the second thing I'd ask for your prayers is, I used to teach for VIP Kid. I'm still on their rosters. And for some of you that may not know that, it's one of the largest like ESL teaching platforms, and it was out of China. And then the Chinese government said, no more foreign teachers, just no more foreign teachers teaching our mainland students. So we had that big separation a number of years ago. But I had over 1,100 students, and that meant 1,100 students and their families. And they just had one of the worst storms, the second worst storm they've had in their recorded history. And when China says that, 2 people died, you can move that number up to 2,000 or potentially even 20,000. And I have no way to know how my students are doing. I have no contact. And all the other VIP Kid teachers are in the same boat, because whatever way that we try to stay connected, the Chinese government shut down. WeChat, whatever it was, we had our accounts blocked. So it is really kind of hard sometimes to think about those people that you're connected to. And this is the aspect of climate change, and we don't want to talk about it, but it's part of this human experience. So thank you for letting me bare my heart today, because apparently it was heavy. So So thanks for holding this space.
You're always welcome, Linnea, and thank you for always holding space the way you do for so many others. Thank you so much. Surrounding you in love and light, sweetheart. Betty, did you have something you wanted to share as well?
Well, I just wanted to say to, oh gosh, I'm sorry, Lynette or Linda. I hope I'm saying your name right. But being as the nerves, lately, I definitely must have reached out and touched one of yours because you were definitely standing out to me today. And I can even what you said did touch my heart because even friendships and relationships have been somewhat of a challenge for me just recently. And when you talk about people being close to people and cannot have access to them and feeling that way, you have definitely pulled one of my nerve strings or heartstrings there. So I have definitely got you in my prayers, and hopefully in the community I can be a little bit more of a friend. I know that when I become friends with people, I like to keep Lorelai's philosophy. She's a good inspiration for me. But it's like I've always tried to be as much as I possibly can. And I do understand that trauma bond because there's sometimes that I just literally have to go shut myself down. And because people, when they get connected, they just like to be in my energy and they come in and they just take it all out of me. And so like sometimes I just have to go, okay, I'm just gonna stay here and rebuild some of this energy. So, but as far as being disconnected from the people and not wondering if they're all okay and stuff like that, I'll send out good intentions for those people and definitely have them in my prayer circle. So, and you too, dear, so that you have the comfort you deserve. So, take care.
Thank you so much for that, Betty.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anyone else that had any prayers or intentions they wanted to share? Take care, Erica. Thank you for joining us, adding space. Thank you. Okay. At this time, we also have a prayer and intention within the community page. So I just want to acknowledge that. And for those who have placed those there, we'll send energy as well for that. Source always knows who and what is in need. So I would just like to take a few minutes just to send that love and that healing energy to everyone who has asked for it or needs it in this space, whether they voiced it or it's a part weighing on their soul right now. So we're just going to spend just a couple minutes for that. Thank you for sending that beautiful energy to all those in need. I thank you for your love and your space. Next, we have our intuitive share with Jeff Kelson, where he gives us the message through the collective for all of us to move through. Jeff, I turn it over to you.
Okay. For those of you who are not familiar with me, and I'm not familiar with you before this day, I'm someone who's just always been connected. I for me, my perspective on me is I'm a conduit, and I receive. And so what I do is I provide from receiving as a conduit. So that's from where I come in and doing this. So what I do is I connect with the collective, and whatever comes next comes next. That's basically how it is. So that's what I'm gonna do. Just bear with me, connecting, and just whatever comes out comes out. The sound should bring you together. Many of you are already aware, but for those of you who are not, we're all connected by love. It's the energy we all share. The word message is to be very aware of your love and sharing your love, being your love, and connecting. And when anything interferes with that, just be mindful of it, be aware of it. Don't mistreat yourself, don't mistreat anyone else. You're all radiant beings. Radiant and love. And always embrace that. Always be with your connectedness to each other and with yourself. Always be with the connection to yourself that makes possible your connection to all of us. We ask that you never lose sight of loving yourself. That is so key, so core, so essential. From there, everything else is possible. Embrace each other in all ways. Embrace yourself in all ways. Thank you for your being with me.
Thank you so much, Jeff, and your collective for that beautiful, beautiful message. Thank you so much for that reminder of love. Thank you. I thank you all for being with us today. Next, I'm going to turn it over to Rev Ned Sheldon for his closing blessing and teaching. Thank you, Fred.
Thank you, Lorelei. Thanks to each and every precious soul that is present and will be present when they watch this. We give thanks for the sacred gathering of being and oneness. It is so sacred to be here on earth at this time. To come together in such ways is good for all that is. Yes, we wrap loving appreciation around all that have participated and will participate in these energies of friendship. It is astonishing when we gather in good sacred ways what can happen in our energy fields within us and around us and between us. The elements, creation, the little ones, other entities and energies have always taught Rev that friendship is honoring ourselves, honoring creation, honoring our friends. They say the word honor from the old French means displaying reverence, inspiring respect, a source of glory. The Latin root of the word honest and honor means free from fraud. Have you ever pondered on your roots and existence and beingness? Beautiful soul, everything is connected to one another. The light is connected to the dark, and the dark is connected to the light. Being around creation all my life and facilitating earth ceremonies for years, I have a strong draw to the spiritual life energies of animals and their connections to Rev. They are powerful helpers of the mystical more. These beings we call animals have taught Rev how to be friends with myself, how to be friends with creation, with the cosmos. It keeps the divine flow and honoring and dancing and being in Rev. As I was preparing for this closing blessing, the frog people were nudging me to share some things about friendship from their perspective. Our frog friends cannot be around toxic environment, just like us. Yes, we can separate from friends that are on a different vibration, but we need to wrap them in love and honor from a distance. Each one of us are on our sacred journeys, but we're connected. Celestial ones, we are one being in the collective in this evolving whole. We are, some say, a divine spark. But each one of us are connected in cosmic, mystical ways with uncountable numbers of divine sparks. So improving our divine spark improves the collective evolving whole. Amazing ones. There is so much more for each one of us. We have heard, how can you love others unconditionally if you cannot love yourself unconditionally? A piece of this unconditional love for ourselves is being a friend with ourselves, honoring ourselves. The Northwest Coast Native peoples, their art and their culture, we can find the frog on the bottom of the totem pole with its legs stretched out to symbolize stability. We need stability within ourselves to become and walk and breathe in our authentic divine selves. Think what stable friendships can produce. Yes, divine sparks and oneness mushing together, creating. The frog beings, okay, desire to remind you how to adapt in our environment, even in different realms. I've seen frogs switch from the water to the land very quickly. In other words, how can we live and move between different worlds and densities? They remind us even how to communicate in these different realms. The frog people are nudging me to share this. They can jump 50 times their own body length. They are beautiful power reminders of how powerful we truly are and how to keep moving in positive and divine ways within ourselves and beyond, no matter what comes our way. Yeah, they're nudging me to share this with you. HOP, H-O-P, honor, odyssey, and persevere. Honor your odyssey and persevere each day. They have uncanny hearing, so they encourage us how we can hear beyond the veil in our daily ways. As we close this sacred gathering, we release loving energies to each one and to those who will gather here later. Friends of the mystical more, you are a precious gift to the cosmos. You are a friend to the cosmos. Be a friend to all of you. So be it. Hop. No.
Thank you so much, Rev. That was beautiful. Beautiful. It took me on a beautiful journey. It's a beautiful way to close our day together. And I thank you all again for joining us here and for all of you feeling this energy that are not here physically in the moment. And I thank you for your friendship and holding this space with me. I want to thank Ish and Greg, Rev, and Jeff for providing the space that they did today. Thank you so much for that. And for all of you who came into this space and added this energy, I hope you can stay blessed and beautiful as always in that energy. Next month, I will be at the DC conference and along with a few of you here. So we won't be having our gathering. So I will see you all in October if I don't see you in our other groups. So we have the Wednesday night groups, and next Saturday is our social circle. So you're all welcome there as well, where we have games and just relax and, have fun with each other that create that joy. So I invite you all to those, and I send you on your way with so much love in my heart. Thank you all for being here.